Miss Yunfei, what is this about? Are you here to tell me how much I owe?
No. What I wanted to talk about is, there is a chance that the ore inlaid on those hairpins may not be Smaragdus jadeite after all.
What do you mean? Are you implying that you already sneaked off and found them?
Obviously not. I'm no adventurer, let alone a member of the guild. I don't run thankless, time-consuming errands for a living. Let's just say I made some deductions. I don't know if Granny told you this, but Smaragdus jadeite is found deep underground and contains very concentrated elemental energy. If mere mortals come into contact with it, well, they'll be sick in the best case. And in the worst case, they could even experience a dramatic change of personality. It most certainly would not be smooth to the touch. Mr. Chow, did you at any time feel unwell while the hairpins were in your possession?
No, not at all. I felt perfectly fine the whole time. Not even the slightest bit unwell. I didn't feel anything special at all, in fact.
Now that is strange. I noticed earlier that there were elemental traces in Mr. Crossel's vicinity. If I've deduced correctly, he may still have the Smaragdus jadeite in his possession.
If that's the case, we should go confront him right now and expose his dirty scam right to his face!
Absolutely not. If we were to confront him now, there's no way he would admit to it. Eventually, he would find some argument to compel us to leave, and then he'd throw the Smaragdus jadeite into the sea the moment we were gone. After that, he would simply insist that Mr. Chow pay up per the contract. He would lose nothing. Meanwhile, we would have to look under every stone in Liyue, hoping and praying that the hairpins do actually still exist somewhere in this world.
So vivid that Paimon thinks it might be experience talking.
Oh, it certainly is. I've seen my fair share of situations like this, and brute force methods are certainly one way of resolving them. Fortunately, I have far more elegant solutions at my disposal. I'll share them with you in due course.
Well then, since you're so experienced in dealing with problems like this, perhaps you could help me, Miss Yunfei.
Oh, that won't be a problem. But first, Mr. Chow, can I ask you to please sign this contract?
Huh? Does there have to be a contract for everything? Paimon can't even keep track. It feels like Yanfei is even more concerned with them than a certain someone else we know.
These are my formal terms of engagement. Everything prior to now has just been pro bono advice. But for me to investigate any further, I require a written contract. Any work commissioned but not bound by a contract cannot be relied upon.
I understand. Then I will be glad to place this matter into your capable hands if you will take it, Miss Yunfei.
No problem. Just sign here, and I'll sign too. Okay. Now write your address here, and then sign on this page as well. And I'll also need your signatures on pages 5, 7, and on the very last page. Finally, if you could just use this ink pad to make a handprint over here.
This contract has so many pages.
All right, that should do it. My fees are the same as always, and they're written in the contract. Have a look through and let me know if you have any questions.
I've had a read through. Everything checks out.
Well then, here's your copy of the contract. I will retain the other copy. Not for now, no. Despite how intractable this problem might sound, it will actually be quite straightforward to resolve, once we've got some things squared away. I don't believe you have been part of an investigation like this before, in which case...
Miss Yunfei, I have to ask.
Because, as it happens, I'm currently trying to acquire some Smaragdus jadeite myself. I noticed strong traces of geo-energy around Mr. Crossel. Whether he actually made it into an item of jewelry or not is a separate matter. But either way, it's a lead. As long as we follow it, who knows? We might just be able to get our hands on some Smaragdus jadeite. Also, the idea of someone abusing the law to their advantage, I won't stand for. But again, let's not dwell on this. Let's go to... where can we find someone who processes ore? Ah, I've got it! Let's pay a visit to Chateau, the boss of the Jade Mystery. He's a professional when it comes to working with stone and ore. If Mr. Crossel had his ore worked on at all, Chateau would undoubtedly have been his first choice.
Why, hello there, honored customers. Welcome to... Oh, it's you, Miss Yenfei. Is something the matter?
No, nothing of the sort. Has a Snezhnyan merchant named Crossel enlisted your ore processing services recently by any chance?
A Snezhnyan merchant named Crossel, you say? I do remember that. He brought me a piece of ore, claiming that it was Smaragdus jadeite. That was the first time I'd ever encountered it, so I had no way of telling if it was really Smaragdus jadeite or not. But if a customer insists, far be it from me to contradict them. He was quite generous with his money, too, so I didn't give it too much thought. I processed the ore as per his request.
Do you have any leftover debris from your work on it?
Why, yes. It was my first time encountering this ore, after all, so I kept a few loose shavings to study myself later. They're right over there, in fact.
Thank you, sir. We'll take a look at them.
What should I try this time?
Try your luck betting on Jade?
If my eyes don't deceive me, the cross-sections and patterning suggest that these... Yes, it's not particularly rare, nor is it especially valuable. It's used to make jewelry all the time. I've heard it said that Smaragdus nephrite is in fact the outer layer of Smaragdus jadeite, though no one's ever proven it.
A thin layer of separation, huh?
If you must see for yourself, try examining these shavings for traces of elemental energy. Smaragdus nephrite is an entirely ordinary ore, containing no elemental energy whatsoever.
Is that so? Well, we might as well give Elemental Sight a shot. So, did you find anything? So they really are different. But wait, how come Jichao is able to tell what it was just by looking at the shards? That's pretty awesome.
There's nothing special to it. It just so happens that I've come across a great many of these in my time. These two stones actually look very similar. Someone without a deep understanding of them would find it very difficult to tell them apart. There may be only a subtle difference for the casual viewer, but that translates to an astronomical difference in terms of the market price. And, I'm sure, a significant difference in the cost of having them carved into shape.
All right, let's focus up. We're going off on a tangent.
But, never mind, Shirto. Why would Mr. Crossel...
Unusual actions have unusual reasons behind them. Let's take some of these shavings back to Chateau.
Try your luck betting on Jade? Try your luck betting on Jade?
Miss Yenfei? Might I be so bold?
If you could just confirm for me once more, sir? Mr. Crossell did indeed claim that the ore he brought to your store was in fact Smaragdus Jadeite, did he not?
Yes, that's right. I still have a record of the job with me, in fact. Here. It says quite clearly, 1 chunk Smaragdus Jadeite, uncut.
Then I have no further questions. But could I borrow the processing record and the stone shavings?
Of course. But might I ask why you need them?
Oh, I have my reasons. Yes. Please sign here on this affidavit. This document shall serve as signed proof that these stone shavings originated from the, ore that Mr. Crossell brought to your store. Please read it carefully.
Yes, I see. Forgive me for asking again, Miss Yanfei, but might I know the nature of the incident on this occasion?
I wouldn't say there's been an incident, just a minor issue. Thank you, sir. I'll take these with me.
With this hard evidence to back us up, Crossell won't dare try to deny what he did.
On the contrary, this is far from sufficient to build a case. We need to find something a little more compelling. If you want to make jewelry, you need a professional jewelsmith. Let me think. Jewelry. Nope. Aha! Got it! Sinxie. She often helps people to find a jewelsmith. Let's go pay her a visit.
Well, that was quick. How come you know so many people?
Because lots of people come to me for legal advice every day. As you know, Liyue Harbor is the city of contracts. And contracts, well, I should say laws, are very important to us. But the amendments made by the Tianquan to our laws are unnecessarily complicated. How can I put this? It just seems like they're hard to understand and impossible to finish. As such, legal advisors like myself provide quite the popular service indeed.
So you help them make sense of the law. But didn't you say that it's hard to understand and impossible to finish?
Yes, well, that's no obstacle because I've memorized all the legal codices.
You memorized them?
You sound surprised. Knowing the law inside out is a legal advisor's bread and butter, you know? this has nothing to do with being an Adeptus. I just like reading things.
Again with that casual tone.
Well, that's that then. Let's go look.
I just like to make people smile.
Try your luck betting on Jade?
Oh, what should I try this time?
I just like to make people smile.
Try your luck betting on Jade?
Oh, what should I try this time?
Try your luck betting on Jade?
I just like to make people smile.
What should I try this time?
Try your luck betting on Jade?
I just like to make people smile.
Oh, what should I try this time?
Try your luck betting on Jade?
I just like to make people smile.
Adventurer, think you can last a round against me?
Try your luck betting on Jade?
I just like to make people smile.
Maybe I wasn't meant for this world.
Jewelry's out of stock, but we have some new items in. Jewelry's out of stock, but we have some new items in.
I can't wait to see my adorable daughter.
Join the Adventurers Guild. You'll have a blast. Jewelry's out of stock.
Where has Master gone this time?
But you didn't let me finish.
La da 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 da.
Where has Master gone this time?
Join the Adventurers Guild. You'll have a blast.
But you didn't let me finish.
I can't
I
wait to
wonder
see
when I'll be as tall as my big sister.
Where has Master gone this time?
Jewelry's out of stock, but we have some new
But
items in.
you didn't let me finish.
Where has Master gone this time?
Join the Adventurers Guild. You'll have a blast. Jewelry's out of stock, but we have some new items in.
Everyone is working super hard. We should be too.
I can't wait to see my
Oh, Miss Yenfei, it's you. Has something happened? Did the client from last time,
Have no further trouble from then on? Yes, of course. I'm just here to ask you a few questions. Has a merchant by the name of Crossell asked you to put him in contact with a jewelsmith recently?
Crossell? Yes, I remember him. He's a merchant from Snezhnaya, no? Yeah, he came to me with a chunk of something he called Smaragdus Jadeite.
The design of the hairpins that he gave me was quite intricate, so it took me some work to find someone who was up to the job. Eventually, I found an older jewelsmith who made them exactly according to his specifications. This order was on hold for a very long time, and only completed quite recently, which is why I remember it so well.
Doesn't seem like there's any evidence to be found here.
Miss Sinksy, I'd like for you to confirm for me once more. When Mr. Crossell commissioned you to find him a jewelsmith, did he or did he not assert that the material he presented to you that day was called smaragdus jadeite?
Yes, I'm sure of it. The hairpins were made using many expensive materials, and the asking price was quite high, so we had to put this transaction on record with the Ministry of Civil Affairs. Mr. Crossell wasn't very familiar with the necessary procedures, so I filed it on his behalf. I also kept a copy for my own records. See for yourself, the item is called Smaragdus Jadeite Twin Phoenix Pins. The inlaid gemstone is recorded as Smaragdus Jadeite. The document even has the official seal of the ministry on it.
Thank you, Sinksy. Now, could you let me borrow this document?
Sure, it isn't serving much purpose here anyway. I take it then that there's been some more trouble?
Nothing you need to worry about, just a minor issue. I'll return your document as soon as I'm done with it. Thanks again.
Why is everyone's first reaction always to assume someone or something is in trouble?
I believe we have almost all the evidence we need. We just need to make one last trip. Let's go to Boo Boo Pharmacy to speak with Dr. Baiju.
The weirdo with the snake around his neck? What do you want to speak to him for?
Because only he can provide an authoritative statement confirming that Smaragdus Jadeite is harmful to the human body. Once we have this final piece of evidence in our hands, we can wrap this case up.
Join the Adventurers Guild. You'll have a blast.
Jewelry's out of stock, but we have some new items in.
La da 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 da.
Join the Adventurers Guild. You'll have a blast.
Jewelry's out of stock, but we have some new items in.
Go, Barbara, go! Are you tired? Try my new spicy energy drink. I'm sure it'll wake you up. La da 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 da. I wonder when I'll be as tall as my big sister. La da 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 da.
my, to what do I owe the pleasure? Though I'm afraid that if you're looking for our little Chi-Chi, she's out gathering herbs. And if it isn't Miss Yanfei as well, now that's an even rarer honor. What business brings you here, might I inquire? Some charlatans peddling ineffectual medicines again, no doubt?
No. I'm here this time to ask if you're familiar with Smaragdus Jadeite.
Smaragdus Jadeite? Why, yes, there is some information about it included in the 6th commentary on the 7 Mountain Treatises. The 7 Mountain Treatises states that this substance springs forth from stone marrow within the mountains and will bring disaster to any mere mortals who touch it. It is abundant in elemental energy, so if someone without a vision is in contact with it for a prolonged period, best case scenario, they fall ill. Worst case scenario, they'll suffer great changes in personality and their illness will only ever get worse. Anyway, I'm sure you didn't come all this way just to chit-chat. Knowing you, Yanfei, and given the specific nature of your question, I suppose that you're about to ask me to write an official affidavit attesting to the pharmaceutical peculiarities of Smaragdus Jadeite?
That is indeed the case. If you would be so kind, Dr. Baiju.
No trouble at all. It's just a single document. Won't take me a moment. I would mention, though, that you are not the only one who's developed a curiosity for Smaragdus Jadeite recently. A Snezhnayan merchant came to ask me about it not long ago. But after I gave him my reply, his expression shifted to one of remarkable disappointment. I wonder, Miss Yanfei, if your pressing business might be related to this Snezhnayan merchant?
You needn't concern yourself about that, Dr. Baiju. Thank you for penning us that document. I'll make sure to compensate you in due course.
You're too kind. Take care now.
That Baiju guy is as weird as ever. Is it just Paimon, or does it feel like he was fishing for something back there?
Dr. Baiju's always been...
Miss Yanfei, have you finished your investigation? I trust you will now be in a position to assess the compensation due.
Yes, my investigation is indeed concluded. I can now provide a final figure for the amount payable.
Wonderful. Well then, please, could you do the honors, Miss Yanfei?
Of course. According to the stipulations of the contract, Mr. Crossell, you must pay Mr. Chow 10 times the original transaction price in Mora.
Sure. Wait, what? Me pay her? Surely there's been some kind of mistake, Miss Yanfei.
Not at all. According to my investigations and the material evidence that we've gathered, the substance claimed to be Smaragdus Jadeite that was inlaid within the Smaragdus Jadeite twin phoenix pins that you rented out to Mr. Chow was, in fact, Smaragdus Nephrite. Now, the contract states very clearly that 10 times the price shall be paid should the article not be genuine. Accordingly, you are liable for this sum, which is payable to Mr. Chow in Mora.
Material evidence? What material evidence? Why, Miss Yanfei, you cannot frame me like this. I spent a huge sum to obtain that Smaragdus Jadeite, and yet you claim that the ore inlaid on the hairpins is somehow fake? I demand to see your evidence.
Indeed. Only a testimony from an expert witness involved in the processing of the ore can serve as an authoritative assessment of whether it is genuine. Traveler, please produce the evidence in question. This is a processing record from the Jade Mystery, along with stone samples and an affidavit signed by the business owner, Chateau.
Seriously? Even the boss there couldn't differentiate between Smaragdus Jadeite and Smaragdus Nephrite. How does this prove anything? In any case, Smaragdus Nephrite is the outer layer of Smaragdus Jadeite. So I had him cut away the nephrite, he returned the valuable jadeite core to me, and some nephrite samples remain in the store. What am I missing exactly?
That's an unsubstantiated belief.
Well, your claim that my ore is fake is just as unsubstantiated. And we are here to talk about evidence, aren't we?
Ugh. Looks like our first piece of evidence didn't convince him at all.
Hard evidence, something legally binding. We have just the thing. Show him, Trav.
This document proves that my hairpins are the real deal, doesn't it? This is the Ministry's seal, after all. It shows that the ore inlaid on the pins.
Our second piece of evidence didn't work either. And this guy's getting...
You know, you could be right. Perhaps the hairpins are the real deal after all.
Of course I'm right. All the evidence shown supports my story.
Well, hang on a moment now, because I do recall one final piece of evidence that we haven't revealed yet. Traveler, would you do the honors?
What's this?
Smaragdus jadeite springs forth from stone marrow within the mountains and will bring disaster to any mere mortals who touch it. Sustained contact with Smaragdus jadeite over a prolonged period will, in less serious cases, cause a mild malady, while in serious cases, the patient may suffer a dramatic... Mr. Crossell, were you aware of these peculiar properties of Smaragdus jadeite?
I had no idea.
No idea, you say? I'd guessed as much. But I'm afraid that this falls outside the scope of my work, but within that of the Ministry of... However, I'm sure that the Ministry will be relatively lenient, considering that, as... Don't worry, Mr. Crossell. I will make sure that all the evidence presented here will be handed over to the Ministry. I trust that you'll give them your full cooperation in their investigations.
What? Wait!
Oh, so you knew? Oh, dear, Mr. Crossell. But if you knew of Smaragdus jadeite's dangerous properties beforehand, why would you...
Huh? No,
Aren't actually inlaid with genuine Smaragdus jadeite? You do understand, Mr. Crossell, that this means that you will... Mr. Crossell, your answer, please. My client and I are waiting.
Yep, he's seriously intimidating.
I admit it. I confess. But after receiving it, I went to That's why I had another pair. I kept the real Smaragd. I was worried that someone would see...
Exactly.
I didn't... If word got...
All right, let's cut the appeals phase right there.
10 times.
Crossell looks like he could faint any second.
As for me, according to my
20%? That's as much...
There's no need.